Hello everybody, this is Gregory with How I Lost Over 100 Pounds and I've kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and maintenance. Today we're going to talk about orthorexia nervosa and what are the telltale signs that you have it. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, which has hundreds of articles and recipes. And lastly, if you appreciate my content, there is a link in PayPal for a donation. So unlike anorexia and bulimia nervosa, which are pretty commonly well known, orthorexia might be something new to you. If you break down the word in Greek, it literally means straight eating. So let me delineate a sketch as to how the typical person who maybe is watching this channel might become orthorexic. So let's say you're eating the standard American diet, you're not eating that well, you're overweight, whatever it is. And then you decide to lose weight and maybe you employ a radically different lifestyle in terms of your eating. So maybe you go paleo, or if God didn't make it, don't eat it, or you go keto, carnivore, vegan, whatever these things. And you'll notice that you are losing weight and that you feel better. And many times when you're in this kind of world, you start learning about toxins that are in the food. You learn about maybe big pharma, big food, not really caring about you. And so you learn about some of the things that we've talked about here, the effects of high fructose corn syrup on you, the effect of monosodium glutamate on you, the effect of pesticides that are laden, or that our produce is laden with, its effects on our overall health, the hormone disruption, the carcinogens, all these things. So you combine these things, you start losing weight, and so you become essentially obsessed with clean eating. Hashtag clean eating, right? Hashtag eat clean. And so what ultimately is the result of this is that you become obsessed with eating well. And so you can, in orthorexia, it does take on different forms, but you could spend a lot of time on the internet researching foods, researching medical conspiracies, and so forth. And eventually the result is you start thinking that the large majority of food is polluted, toxic, and not worth eating. And as a result, you become obsessed with clean eating. And a result of that is when you used to eat a wide variety of food, now you might eat 5, 6 things, and that's it. Because you are convinced in your mind that everything else is polluted and not good. A result of that is, for example, your friends might ask you, hey, let's go to Chili's or Olive Garden to go eat. And you're like, no, I can't go there because everything is cooked in industrial grade rancid vegetable oil and they use monosodium glutamate, and I don't think that the meat is, the seafood's wild caught and the meat is shot up with antibiotics or recombinant bovine growth hormone. No, I can't. No, thank you. And you might not tell them that, but you say no. So a result of being orthorexic is that it limits your amount of friends. And it affects your social life. It affects your life in that you keep saying no to people going out. And your life could just be you at home looking up conspiracy theories about food and then thinking, okay, I can only eat guacamole and I can only eat organic dark chocolate. No, typically the things on your list are going to be all organic stuff, organic this, organic that. And everything else is polluted. And so, for example, you think you might have like an encyclopedia eidetic memory, and that if somebody shows you, I don't know, chips or cereal, you can like list a lot of the bad stuff in it. So it becomes an obsession. It is a form of obsessive compulsive disorder, and it's different in that anorexia, you restrict your calories. So with orthorexia, and then with bulimia, you're going to binge purge. With orthorexia, it's more of a fixation and fascination with eating, but it can result in an offspring of both of these. So if you feel like the large majority of food is toxic, you could stop eating or not eat nearly as much. Or one day you can just lose it and start eating a lot of food, which could be bulimia. But orthorexia is a problem. But it is also almost like a realistic portrayal of the standard American diet in our food supply here, at least in the States. So how do you navigate this middle road? Because yes, you don't want to be eating pesticide-laden produce. You don't want to necessarily be eating our tainted meat supply. you do want to buy organic, not on everything, but certain things I would recommend, like dairy, especially milk, and the produce that does absorb a lot of pesticides. So we have an episode on the Dirty Dozen here. So your leafy greens, your berries, your peaches, your tomatoes, these annually are always scored as being very high in absorbing pesticides, so you're taking those in. But there's a lot of produce, like the citrus as a whole, melons, as the aforementioned, avocado, kiwi, that don't absorb a lot of pesticides. So you don't need to get those organic. Same for, I would say, with the legumes. You don't need to get organic beans. Just because the company or grocery store sells something organic doesn't mean that it needs to be bought organic. So you do want to have this fine line where you do day in, day out want to avoid as many toxins as you can, but not to the point where it is deleteriously affecting your social life and deleteriously affecting your psychological life. If you're constantly worried and constantly obsessed, that's not good for you. So a good middle ground is when you're at home, you do want to buy clean ingredients. But if somebody invites you to go to Olive Garden, you still go, because we're social creatures and we need to interact with people. And yes, they might not cook everything in butter. And certainly we have an episode here on dining out, the guides to dining out. You can ask them to cook in butter. It's probably not going to be organic, but the butter will be better than the rancid industrial grade vegetable oil that they cook things in. But even if they cook in something crappier, even if you eat Cheetos, which have MSGs, or you have one soda and it has high fructose corn syrup, okay, again, it's all moderation, just understanding, yes, this isn't the healthiest thing, but it's okay. It's okay. And not become obsessed with it. And orthorexics become obsessed with clean eating. They become obsessed with it. And an offshoot of this too is how the food is presented. That's another type of orthorexia. This isn't as common, but like you're making an omelet and then you make the omelet, you put it on the plate and you're just convinced that the omelet doesn't look right. The omelet doesn't look good. And so you throw it away. So that has more to do with the visual representation of food and less of the actual ingredients in the food. But just know about orthorexia because it can happen to you. You lose this weight, you feel good, and then you start getting into this box of, I feel good, I don't want to gain my weight back. We have an episode here if the petrifying fear of gaining weight is a good thing. And then you just become aware because of all this revolution in your eating habits. You start doing research and then you start seeing, oh my God, the standard American diet is so horrible. And then you just become obsessed to the point where you lose your friends and you're eating like 6 foods. So this is a very feasible slippery slope that can happen to you. And so please, if you feel like you have any of these things, get some help. Guys, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you know anybody who has this, hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.